Holy shit! Oh my god! Hi and welcome to episode 12 of Under the Volcano, which we're shirtless this episode because we're going to be talking about Ubud. But welcome with me, Nigel Simmons,
and me, Ian Wallace.
How are you, Ian? All good. This week we have news on Ubud. Is it really a city? And the eternal question: is Bali a lost paradise? But first. And now a word from our sponsor. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that, but we're not just going to move on, right? I mean, it's been a bit of a
bintang.
It's been a beautiful. Well, I'm drinking as usual the romantic, the Bali High romantic.
Because you're an old romantic.
Day lager. I am an old romantic. That's why I'm not wearing
a shirt. If it wasn't so hot, you'd be wearing a cravat.
It is fucking hot. I am sweating like a rapist here, in my little studio. And I know you've got the sun on you, Ian.
I've got mine beaten down on me. It's about 32 degrees. Yeah, it is.
Seriously?
32 degrees. Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, anyway, let's go to this. Feedback. Bit of the old feedback. We love a bit of feedback. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, we appreciate you all. And if you haven't subscribed, as they say, hit that link. And subscribe, and we will give you weekly a sparkling podcast peppered with insights from Bali and the occasional piece of wisdom about life, I think.
And quite a bit of bullshit.
Probably some bullshit. And of course, as ever, beer is involved. But first we've got from, excuse me, that's the beer talking. We have from Scott, our wonderful friend Scott.
Yes.
AKA Big George's friend, AKA what's his name on
Victor
Instagram?
Diablo.
Vincent.
Or Vincent.
Yeah, Vincent.
Get it right.
Diablo. Get it right. The ultimate bagman who followed Big George. Anyway, he's got a quick message for us. He says, "Phone me an ambulance. Can't stop laughing at Nigel's Irish accent." I think he must have been referring to my Brad Pitt impersonation,
which came across as slightly Eastern European, I think.
Well, it is the pikey accent. Sorry. I also had a message from one of our friends from Europe, and she said, Nigel, you can't use that word. It's just not on anymore.
That's what I fucking told you.
I know. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry for all the gypsies. Gypsies is allowed. It's sort of been kind of introduced again to the language, to the woke language. So travellers sounds pretty derogatory as well. But I mean, the P word, I do remember when there were signs outside the pubs in Wisbech.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in Norfolk, it would say no peas and no dogs and no Irish.
Yes.
So pretty austere time. I understand why that would cause offence. Anyway, so Scott, he says, "Brilliant fun, lads, and it's all true." This is, of course, referring to the story about Big George fighting his way up the hill, the Appleby Fair, and then getting his knackers blown off by the gypsies. He said, Scott says, "We even hatched a plan to take Big George's new jeans back to TK Maxx, which is where I bought them from, on the Monday because they had holes in them."
Oh, yeah, that's wonderful.
I wonder what TK Maxx would have said about that,
Yeah, about the blood.
Anyway, thank you, Scott. There's the blood too, But thank you, Scott, man. Thanks for watching. We really appreciate it. And let's have a look at this.
This week from the Sanor Weekly.
Ah, yes, the Sanor Weekly. This week's edition up until April the 10th. The smell of print. Oh, so gorgeous.
Yeah.
The sound
of advertising.
real news, man. It's real news. But I have to say again, this week's a little bit disappointing. And I don't know what's going on in the office of the Sun, or the editorial department of the Sun Weekly. But there's pretty much fuck all in the Sun Weekly. So they're either not paying their union rates or something to their reporters, who are clearly well qualified and all right. But I don't know. There's not much in there this week, but I did find, on page. What I find is that they have one page where they do digested news.
Yeah.
It's news compressed. It says, it's news that didn't make it into a full article, like there are full investigative articles in the Sun Weekly, but
not quite.
I'm just going to read this out because I do have questions about the story.
Go on.
It says, in what appears to have been a suicide attempt, a 46-year-old American man was found covered in blood on a balcony of his rented accommodation in Kudza last week. The man was found alive at around 7:40 a.m. by the accommodation owner, and I quote, who unfortunately also happens to be a doctor. Surely that should be
unfortunately.
Fortunate. Yeah, should be fortunate. And the doctor, the owner of the place, said after assessing the badly injured man, he found some large lacerations on his neck, requiring immediate medical attention. The man alerted the authorities, and the American was taken to a local hospital. It is believed that the man attempted to cut his own neck with a broken bottle. That's fucking hardcore, man.
That's what Bintang does for you.
Well, there's that. And there's no further information on the case other than the fact that the CCTV system didn't work and nobody really knows anything. That's actually what it says in the story.
It's nobody a cliffhanger.
Really it's like, is that journalism or what, man? They really nailed it. So,
yes.
So there's no further information on the case other than the fact that the CCTV system didn't work and nobody really knows anything.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's what you get from getting a free paper.
I mean, I've got, there is that, the free paper thing. But I still have questions. I mean, the fact that, who attempts suicide by smashing a Bintang bottle and then stabbing into their throat, I don't see that as a suicide attempt. I see that as some sort of psychotic episode, So
quite possibly.
If you want to do yourself in, there are clearly better ways, It doesn't say what floor he was on, but you could have chucked yourself off the balcony. Maybe he wasn't. But
here's the thing. Yeah. It's something we touched on a couple of episodes ago, wasn't it? About mental health and. That's in the bin.
That's in the bin.
But the mere fact that you're contemplating suicide implies or would dictate the fact that you are not thinking straight. So
not necessarily.
Really?
No, if you were to plan your suicide, then generally you'd have a plan. Like I don't see that break.
But a lot of people don't plan it, do they?
No, well, if you're not going to plan it, then is that a suicide attempt? Do you know what I mean? Or is that just some sort of psychotic episode? You know what I mean? It's like, so if you get too pissed and your wife's left you and your dog's dead and, what else can you think of that's gone wrong?
There's nothing in the Sun Weekly.
Nothing in the Sun Weekly. You got nothing else to do. Ubud's fucked. I'll just fucking smash a Bintang bottle and I'll stick it, jab it into my jugular.
Yeah.
That's not the way, man. Find a fucking knife, at least,
So,
do you know what I mean?
So, so where's this conversation going?
Is
this a helpline or an advice line?
It's not a helpline. It's probably more of an advice line. If you're going to commit suicide, make a plan. You know what I'm saying, and also don't cut across your wrist. You got to cut down the wrist, but
exactly.
Anyway, we're not. We're just.
It's not good.
Yes. I hope that. He is okay, and that
good.
He gets the help that.
Well, let's hope precisely. Let's hope he gets the help he needs.
There are some brilliant people that have gone through this episode themselves and have then come out the back of it and have started, serious helplines for people when it's not a serious suicide attempt, and you can get over it and help other people that maybe in this situation. So it's rough, man.
And I have to say, just a purely personal take on this, my mother, who died about 9 years ago, made several attempts on life. You know, so it's
pretty heavy, man. Sorry about that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, running into fucking more than 10.
Wow.
Yeah, seriously. So that's quite a difficult thing to live with as a husband or a child, you know? It's fucking horrible. So, yeah, there you go. Anyway, let's lighten up. Let's lighten up.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Ian. That is, I've also had that in my family too, and it's nothing good about it. So I think making light of it, we do that only to try to sort of levitate yourself over it, because I wouldn't say we've all been there, but you know, it's closer than you think. Anyway,
absolutely.
Let's move on. So the reason why I'm not wearing a shirt this week in episode 12 of
because your wife burned all your clothes.
It's because my wife's burnt all my clothes, and yes, she's caught me with the maid, who's the gardener. Sorry, a boy. And no, the reason I'm not wearing a shirt this week is in honor, and my coffee bamboo necklace, which I hope you can see.
Yes,
it's quite lovingly bought from Golgadja in Ubud. If you ever get a chance, if you're going past Golgadja out towards the east of Bali, there's a little stall there, a little market kind of place opposite the temple, and they flog these, and they really are just. If I can just get a close up of it, I don't know. It's coffee beans. Yeah, right. The brown bits of coffee beans.
That's really pretty.
With a bit of bamboo there, and they give them to you after you've been in the temple,
right?
And it's just a kind of way of saying that you know, we're a collective group of human beings, and this is a sign that you recognise that there is some sort of driving force amongst us.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm wearing that. I'm also not wearing a shirt because we're going to talk about Ubud. Yeah. The famous city of Ubud, and in the travel and leisure version of the best cities in the world 2023, the city of Ubud in the province of Bali is in the top 10 listing by ranking 4th. The city of Ubud is located in the highlands of Bali. It says the city is also known as the centre of culture, arts and natural beauty. Ubud offers another side of Bali. What do you think about that statement?
I've only been to Ubud maybe. Actually, no. I lived there. Well, I stayed there for about a week and a half, 2 years before I moved out here. I had a holiday here, and I stayed there for about a week and a half, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Met some very interesting.
I think a week and a half qualifies you as some sort of expert, doesn't it?
Well, no, but as a tourist,
No. And now from let's go to our correspondent from Ubud.
That's right. Yeah. Well, yes.
Our specialist from Ubud.
Yes. The font of all knowledge.
But what gets me about this, though, is I just want to before you share with us your experiences of Ubud, which I'm really looking forward to hearing. I have to say, my question is Ubud a city? Now, many people that maybe watching this have been to. Well, exactly. So it's been voted by Travel and Leisure magazine, which still exists somehow in the pantheon of print journalism. You know, it's been voted as best city in the world, number 4. Now you've been to Ubud. I've been to Ubud, and for the life of me, I can't see how you would classify this group of warungs and temples and you know, rice fields and stuff as a city. I just don't get that bit.
No. I mean, I went through there recently, actually, about a month ago, and it's just like anywhere else. And I think it's just.
It's definitely not like anywhere else, Ian. It's definitely not like. It's not like fucking Norwich, is it?
It's not like Norwich, but it's not dissimilar to the outskirts of fucking Denpasar. You know, it's just
right. Yeah, so it's like anywhere else in Bali. I mean,
yeah. So it's I'm not a great fan, to be honest. First, there's too many fucking monkeys there.
Yeah,
steal your sunglasses, steal your passport. make love to your mother.
You're referring, of course, to the famous, world famous,
monkey
forest, which is again, okay. It's a city, they say.
Yeah,
It's got a forest. It's a very
full of monkeys.
Very small parcel of land. It's hardly it wouldn't qualify as a forest anywhere else in let's say in Europe. It's a tiny piece of land. It's probably like what, I don't know, 20 hectares or something. Like 50 acres. But it is full of monkeys, and everybody that is anybody who comes to Bali has to go there and experience it. Now I've been there, and I only went there once because I fucking hate monkeys. I fucking hate monkeys, and I've got nothing against them, but I'm just not getting close to them because I know them. The thing is, I have knowledge of them, and
they know you, Nigel. They know you.
They know me, and they don't like me. Me and monkeys, we just don't get on. So. You got anything? They are very naughty little things, and
they're little fuckers.
They are little fuckers. Little fuckers, yeah. And,
little fuckers.
Little fuckers. They will steal your handphone and then hold it ransom because they know that you value it.
Yeah, give them food and they'll give it back. Yeah.
Sometimes, if you give them enough food.
That's right.
So there's the monkey forest, and then, of course, there's sort of Main Street Ubud, if you like, which has got a bunch of old families, restaurants, a lot of restaurants. And I moved to Ubud in 1992, about 1,000 years ago. I moved when I first came to Bali. I moved to Ubud in 92. So let's go to our correspondent. No, but it was, and it's actually not that different. Physically, if you like, when you go down the main street, it's sort of the same. The thing that you notice is, since stories like the Travel and Leisure thing or whatever, and the recent post-COVID Russian invasion of Bali, it's just filled with swathes of let's say digital nomads or whatever, speaking foreign languages. A little bit like the marketplace in Norwich, invaded by Albanians and Polish people, who are generally useful, I would say, in that situation.
They'll wash
they know
car.
where the fucking they can wash
your
car.
car, and they'll sell you drugs.
And sell drugs and find out where your fucking remote control is, for your TV. Right. Fix your TV, get your DVDs working and all the rest of it, and do all useful things. But in Ubud, the influx of Russians and Ukrainians and whoever else is escaping the war, and I've got no problem with them escaping war, is that they arrive in Ubud because it's been touted as the city
I know.
of the world, right? And they're like, they get there, and it's just, there's always been yoga people. Mm-hmm. It used to be American, kind of Californian dreamers that went there, for that sort of stuff.
All harem pants and tie-dye.
Bit of harem pants. And then, of course, there was Eat, Pray, Love, which massively put it on the map with Julia Roberts. That dreadful movie I thought was an unwatchable piece of crap movie. And with Kutub Laya,
no, I haven't seen it.
Laya, who was, have you not seen it? Well, really don't bother. No. So there's Julia Roberts and then the brilliant actor, I forget his name, Xavier Bandem.
Right.
And they sort of waltz through this fictitious romantic kind of take on Bali, where this girl goes to heal herself after she's been shafted by her ex-boyfriend or whatever. She goes to see the healer. Now, there are still healers there, and I believe in healers here.
Yeah.
And in Ubud, there are great healers, and it is a bit of a weird thing that people from Europe, from the States, who are firmly based in the idea of American or science-based medicine, go to places like Ubud, like Lords, as we discussed last week.
There you go.
In order to relieve themselves of whatever pain they have. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that there's any kind of snake charm or hickory pokery going on there, but I've been to places there in Ubud where I've seen shit that has blown my mind, and I've seen people with serious ailments that have been cured through this process of seeing a healer, and that may be psychological. Or a combination of that. There's certainly no sort of physical or pharmacological stuff going on, that word.
Yeah.
But I think the relief that people get by going to see someone who
if it
may
works,
be connected to something else, obviously gives people a huge amount, of relief.
I will just interject, because it seems like we often talk very negatively about Russians. And for those who aren't fortunate enough to live where we do, it might seem a bit harsh, but fucking hell, invariably they misbehave. And
come on, man. I mean, let's be frank, they're escaping a war. They don't give a fuck about Bali, and they don't give a fuck about Indonesia.
True. It's very true.
They want to. The ones that have money have come here, parking their wealth here. The other kids, the 17-year-olds, I get that. They come in here.
Well, my son's same.
For them not to. No, your son is not escaping war.
Oh, sorry.
Your son chose to come to Bali because it's a great place. But to these guys, these kids are coming because. The option is to go to the store and get bundled into the back of a van, and sent to the front in Ukraine, or to sort of sell off to somewhere like Bali for a couple of years while the war hopefully dissipates and stuff. But so I have sympathy for those guys. But what I don't have sympathy for is people arriving and just having no respect at all for the Balinese culture.
And that seems to be, the sort of
a very common theme, So I don't want to park it at in some sort of racist way in somebody's car park, somebody's country, but that is a theme. And anybody coming to Bali needs to understand and come here for the right reasons, I think.
Absolutely. No, and we can only reflect what we see, and we see it day in, day out, So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't see it day in and day out. I see it on social media, which is another thing we've spoken about, how things are sort of bent through the prism of social media, light goes in one way and comes out different colour the other way.
I see it quite a lot around where I live, I have to say.
It makes me also, then that nicely brings us on as a segue into our segment about whether Bali is really a lost paradise. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's sometimes the victim of its own success, or is increasingly perhaps the victim of its own success. With the things we've just discussed, tourism I think it accounts for something like 80% of the income of the island. Totally. So, and with that comes the problems. The people that got the money have, and this is generalising, but perhaps have the arrogance. And yes, it sounds disrespectful to say it's a cheap place to be, because I don't think that's the right terminology, but it's inexpensive. You can come here and you can live. We do inexpensively. So ergo, people can come here on holiday and live inexpensively.
Yes, but people moving here, and Bali's always been known as a tiny Hindu enclave, in a massive Muslim nation, and it is the jewel in the crown in terms of tourism in Bali. So
very much.
Indonesia. So it's always, and it's again struggling with the eternal question. I mean, literally, when I moved here in '92, people would ask us exactly the same question: is tourism ruining Bali? Because there is this beautiful culture, and it's been going on, this conversation, I think, since ever since the first person, first white person, if you like, or European or foreigner moved here. And it's gone through these stages, and the question's always been amongst academics anyway, European and American, Australasian academics. It's always been, is tourism ruining the culture of Bali? It's a very basic and essential question. and it's not applied to other places in the world. You know, I don't think it's not applied to, certainly not to Singapore.
No.
It's certainly not applied to Hong Kong. It's certainly not applied to, let's say, you know, Vanuatu. I mean, anywhere that is a third world sort of country welcomes tourism, and it's generally like Benidorm or Spain or whatever has welcomed the money and traded easily their culture for the bucks, man. So I just, you know, Bali's a special place.
Yeah.
Did anybody ever say that about Goa, for instance? You know, it's interesting that
that's a really good point. That's a really good point.
Places like Goa, for instance, they're under such pressure from their own countries, you know, from their own problems internally. And somehow Bali's managed to sort of continue its culture within this vast Muslim nation of 300 million Muslims, you know. And so I don't know who said that about, let's say, the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
No one ever said, let's preserve Philippine culture. You know, they largely were given American culture because of its basis, you know, for the Second World War against Japan, and also the Korean, you know, kind of nonsense and stuff. So I wonder how, it's always been a question. And yes, the tourists are welcomed, and now it's up to like 5.4 million people a year. You know, Thailand just rolled over completely and just went for, you know, there's dope shops up and down the street now in Bangkok or Phuket or whatever. It's full of tarts and whatever. Somehow they've segregated it into, they just treat, you know, tourists as these alien people that come.
And
they somehow maintain as a commodity, totally. They somehow maintained their Thainess about it, but only by extraditing, or not extraditing, but like by victimizing the tourists. So, is Bali a lost paradise? If you have an opinion about that, we'd love to hear about it.
Interesting to hear. Interesting to hear.
And again, hit that button on subscribe, because it's like, and it helps our numbers, and it helps us to continue asking.
We'll be ever so grateful.
We'll be ever so grateful. It also allows us to continue asking Island Brewing to send more beer.
Yeah,
we need beer. We haven't had any beer for weeks. It's just like a dearth. Yeah. Anyway, tell us quickly about your experience of Ubud.
Ubud, right? Well, in no particular order, I met a very mad woman. I went on a date with her when I was over here, like 2 years, you know, as a tourist. And funnily enough, our date was at the monkey forest. And I don't know who was worse, the monkeys or the fucking woman I was with.
Oh,
so that was a very short-lived relationship. It lasted about 2 hours.
2 hours,
what else?
Okay.
Yeah. So what else happened in Ubud? Yeah. Oh, I had probably one of the best meals I've ever had. And I mean, seriously, you know, ever. In a little restaurant called the I think it's called the Rice Fields, which is just wonderful. So if anybody's watching this and they live in Bali and want to venture out to Ubud, go to the Rice Field.
I've never heard of it, the Rice Field. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty common name.
It's run by I think he's an Australian guy, sort of fairly old guy, I'm not sure. But it's just, really, really good. What else? Oh, I stayed in a hotel early part of last year and slipped down a ramp and ripped my fucking elbow open. This one. And it's still, and so to the point where it wasn't blood that was coming out, there was fucking tissue.
No, both of these stories, the mad woman and then slipping over and smashing her elbow on the wet pavement, I can completely relate to, and I think are very relevant to Ubud as a place, because it's still filled with mad fuckers. I mean, you know, people who are fucking mad, who love to be mad and free and all that, and celebrate all that. They go to Ubud, and also the the pavings and the steps are very slippery. So these are things to think about.
And then last year, my girlfriend, now my wife, we went and stayed in a place. It looked fantastic on booking.com.
As they always do, yeah.
Yeah, fuck me. And we went there, and this little lodge, sort of thatched, whatever. I mean, it looked gorgeous, all romantic, and blah blah blah. But it was fucking overrun with rats, and we said, we're not staying here. So they put us into another room, and I think it had more rats in, So that's not so good. So, what can we say good about Ubud?
Well, there's lots of lovely things to say brilliant about it. Because, I lived there for 5 years and I absolutely enjoyed of course, the people, stunning. Of course, the ceremonies, stunning. Of course, the freedom that it offered. And, of course, the views of the rice fields and the mighty Agung River. Absolutely stunning, I really spent 5 brilliant years of my life in that gorgeous place. Which has, lately become sort of engulfed with traffic and.
It's just so fucking busy.
It is. I would say not necessarily a city, but I would put it up there. Ain't a city, but I would put it up there if I was to list places to live in the world. I think number 4 is a pretty good time. I had a gorgeous. Beautiful time in Ubud. There will always be a spot in my heart for that. Which brings us nicely to me promoting my book about Ubud.
There you go.
It's about the time.
Now, our sponsor.
That works for my sponsor. This book, Eating the Wind, A Requiem for Innocence by Nigel Simmons, is. Thank you, Polly. That's my cat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is a story of my time moving to Ubud in 1992 and spending my 5 years there and the gorgeous and interesting people I met there. Man, so if you want to check it out, please do so on Amazon. It's available there. It's called Eating the Wind. It's by me, Nigel Simmons.
And it's a good book.